Thank you, Nadim. And yeah, does anyone have any questions for our panel?
Hi, thank you. Great panel. Just wondering how you think about matching up like the attack costs of a decentralized oracle with the kind of extractable revenue on the protocols it secures, because stablecoins can be billions in market cap, but you can imagine the attack costs are a tiny fraction of that, and it seems like it's not been solved. So yeah, curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, whoever wants, just.
Well, so I'm talking about the Aave experience on this. Doesn't mean like it's a perfect solution, and there's probably other ways to do this. But basically, it's true, and there's no way to solve that because you will not have like a one-to-one backing compared to attack cost, and as we grow, it will grow larger. So, but it's true since day one of blockchain, you know. So if you are a Bitcoin mining pool and you collude with the other guys, you can do double spending and steal Satoshi Nakamoto coins, and that's super profitable. And there's been situation where, like in Bitcoin mining, 3 mining pools could do that, but nobody's done that yet because the way we design blockchain system is that it's actually super hard to collude. So for now, it still works, for sure. So just to give context, Chainlink Medianizer works the same way. So you have like Chainlink price feed operators, and they give data, and if there's an outlier, they get slashed. So unless they successfully collude, they get slashed, and that's usually how it works.
Yeah, I think so far, what we discussed earlier about the price, sort of attacks on oracles, there haven't really, been any large attacks based off the relayer model being compromised, as much as manipulation of the underlying, right? What I would say is, right, in theory, every single system should be secured to some point where, the risk of a particular attack for a particular block, for a particular malicious point, the cost of publishing something malicious there is greater than any sort of benefit they would have by manipulating something. In practice, right, most oracles get around that by using some form of trusted majority, right, or honest economic majority, or a trusted intermediary. In some cases, both.
I just think it's a really excellent question. I'd say this is something clearly I think we don't understand right now today, and we shouldn't use the fact that there haven't been attacks of this kind against Chainlink to mean very much. It does seem like that we are backstopping this entire massive system on chain by this smaller system, and it seems like in theory it should be able to be attacked profitably, and that hasn't happened so far. For me, this is just a flag that like there's something here I don't understand that's going on. I think it's a really good question.
Yeah, but do you think like really you will have in the future Lido operators, rocket pool operators that will collude to attack Ethereum? Because in theory, that's the same vector of attack. And in theory, you can make a shitload of money too. But it just doesn't happen. Why? It's an honest question. Why it doesn't happen? I don't have like a specific answer and set in stone answer to that.
Sorry, there's one interesting thing that you're mentioning, something that you don't understand. And there's something that I don't understand around stables. Because, in traditional finance, if you have a government bond, it's like non-defaultable. If you have a corporate bond, it's defaultable. And then you have a spread between the government bond and the corporate bond, which reflects the default probability, because it's more likely that the corporate will default. Now let's look at our stables. So let's say we have USD. USD has 0 or some small default probability. We are creating a stable. The stable has a higher default probability, but where is the spread? So, I'm wondering whether there is some extractable value in this, and I don't understand why we don't see this. I mean, I don't understand why all the financials are not shorting our stables, because there is a spread somewhere, and we are selling it for 1. Are all the protocols paying this? I don't know.
Well, I mean, everybody's paying when they're using stables, right? You're passing on the interest that, Tether, USDC.
But even before, I mean, even when we didn't have the interest rates, it was the same. So, Like it's just a recent event that we have interest rates. I mean, just remember some time before we had negative.
Yeah, the case of USD and Terra, it's sort of like this turned up to 11, right? It's like everyone knew this thing was risky, right? But it couldn't trade below $1 until it did, and then it went absolutely to zero, right? And it's if you shorted USD prior to that point, you probably got wiped out slowly over time. So there's this interesting way in which the local mechanisms can sort of tie you to one location, but there's this like ghost price in the background that you could sort of track and sort of stat arb against, but it's kind of unclear when you're actually going to successfully exit to make your profit.
Yeah, it's scaring me, and I don't fully understand this. Yeah, is there some more questions, or the time is over?
Yeah, no, it's time to break for lunch. But I mean, yeah, a good time to catch our panelists outside if you want to talk to them. I think that was a super interesting discussion. Thank you so much. And